Hey, it is Friday, June 5th, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the West Coast. I am Brannon Beliso, and this is Success Never Sleeps. Whereas we as a collective, predominantly martial arts school owners, we're just trying to figure out this thing called life. We want to create these businesses that work for us versus us working for them, and we can fulfill our version of success. Retirement, a home, putting the kids through college, whatever that might be for you, right? And I'm very passionate about that. And I believe, we should be able to achieve that. But there's a lot of moving parts. And each week we try to offer you a topic. And this week it's about anatomy of a technique. Because I believe the core product we deliver is martial arts instructions. The most money we make is from martial arts classes. So to cultivate that and do it really well requires not only a mindset, but a commitment. Hey, Bob, Gold's Martial Arts. Hey, Bob, sir. It requires a commitment to constantly bettering your curriculum, updating your curriculum. There's just a lot of stuff there, and we'll get into that today. So let's begin by thanking our sponsors. Of course, we have Tusaw, Market Muscles, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting, and Kin Creative. All companies I work with, all people I believe in, and have helped my school. At this point, it's really about maintaining, 500 members per each location. That's a hard thing to maintain. I'd like to get to 600. I'm not going to give up on it, but I believe we can do 600 a location. So with these 5 companies you see here, we continue to work towards that, and DM any of us about them, and I'll be happy to share my thoughts. I do it every day. Telling people about Kin Creative and my sister at LC Accounting, and of course, life skills. If you don't have Kids Love Life Skills and a strong life skill component, as we say, they come for the kicks and punches, but they stay for the character development. Market Muscles, simply the finest in websites, and Tusaw. When it comes to martial arts vendor, we've been with Tusaw since the 90s. My dad was one of their original clients, and we continue to work with them today. What's coming up? Man, we got It's Time Live United. Yep, 4 days right here, Millbury, California, 5 minutes from SFO, where it's a retreat. And it's 4 days of personal development, wealth building, working on the internal structures of your school, branding, community, everything. There's a lot that goes on into running a successful business. And you have to wear many hats, and you have to wear them well. It's just simply the way it's going to be. You cannot pick and choose. Once you understand the nature of running a small business successfully and you commit to it, people walk away from those 4 days, and it's an amazing. So far, we got 3 out of the 20 booked. I'm very happy with that, and it's only June. So reserve your spot, do it now, and I think you can save about $200 on that. Our mentoring, we just got off the call, our weekly mentoring call. It's Time Live Group Mentoring. Love these people. I love doing what we do together as a family, and the impact we've had on schools is tremendous, because if you've been stuck at 100 for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, it's probably you, because we have tons of information in the industry, right? You can go to ChatGPT and create an assistant that will tell you and advise you on how to run your school successfully. But what it can't do and will not do is have the mindset, a human being that'll call you out with real, knowledge in real time and help you move the needle. So DM me, Marco, Jason, and Monique, and we'll be happy to share our It's Time group mentoring. So what is it all about today? It's the anatomy of a technique. And I think one of the big things I see in our industry is we take a lot of pride on saying this is the way, in my case, this is the way my father taught me, and his instructor taught him, and his instructor taught him. And we live by that tradition, and we pass it down. I understand that. I really, really do. Being a lifelong martial artist, I really understand that. But we're not asking you to abandon your art. We're asking you to teach it in a relevant, age-specific, skill level-specific way that is impactful and empowers people, right? Totally different. Totally different. Classic example of that, in Kenpo, we have forms. As a white belt, and that was white belt to your next belt was a 2-year. When I grew up, 2 years, like jiu-jitsu, 2 years from white belt to your next belt. So to realistically learn 3 katas in 2 years is probably okay, right? To try to do 3 katas in a 3-month cycle between white belt to your next belt, insane. And if I did one belt every 2 years, I probably wouldn't have any students. Why? Because people need to see progress. And I'm going to share that with you in a moment too. And as you come aboard, say hi. Don't sit up there in the cloud. Let me know you're here. I know there's a lot of people watching at Facebook and YouTube and through StreamYard. Tell us you're here. I like to know. And thank you, Bob. I count on you each week, and I'm grateful that you're here, sir. Most owners think marketing grows schools, ads grow schools, social media grows schools. Marketing gets people in the door. That's it. Curriculum determines whether they stay. Write it down, right? Marketing gets them in the door. Curriculum determines if they stay. If you start marketing today, just ask yourself, would my curriculum create referrals? And if not, that's where the work begins. I kid you not. I've had the opportunity to teach a bit more because my number one guy, TJ, has been on paternity leave. And the first thing I'm going to tell you right now is you should pay all of your instructors better. I've been teaching 1 day a week for close to a decade because I want to, not because I have to. And I'm going to tell you what my guys do on that mat every day pretty much makes or breaks my business. And I say that with all humility. So stop looking at your instructors like a PE teacher or a kindergarten teacher or even a personal trainer. Get on board with creating an environment, a company that people want to work for. Pay them competitive salary, room for advancement, 401k, medical siphon, vacation with pay. Do what you can, because I will tell you, having taught 5 days in a row a week or so ago, because people are on vacation and birthdays and things like that, I love my guys. I love all of them for what they do. All of them. Okay, so that's something I've personally experienced in the past couple of weeks. Teach for understanding, not memorization. Again, we have some Kenpo forms that are maybe, 70, 80 moves. And we would be trying to cram all this curriculum in a cycle. And everything became about memorization. I want to shift that mindset that we want to teach for understanding. In order for them to understand, they must learn and comprehend. Write it down. Learning and comprehension. Learning and comprehension. That's what this is all about. Because if they comprehend it, they really get it. In other words, they are empowered. You build their confidence. They will focus more. They'll be more engaged. You with me? And that's the byproduct when we talk about the life skills. When a child is engaged, they're focused. When a child learns and comprehends, they feel the sense of knowingness. So teach for understanding, not memorization. Cool? And, what did we get growing up? Right? Memorize this, pass the test. Memorize this, pass the test. That was pretty much it. Right? It was never, because the level of proficiency, when I earned a black belt, and it took 12 years when I grew up, I felt like I was just beginning. I was a white belt. You are not going to have any kind of retention if somebody does not feel qualified to learn the martial arts after they earn a black belt, right? And that was my story. And I was a state champion and everything at that time. But because the way the curriculum was laid out, it was simply designed that way, right? Now, I think the problem is students will forget what they memorize all day, but they will attain what they understand, right? And that's our theme for today. So a great technique, answers the questions. What's this technique? Well, it's a front kick. Why? Why am I throwing a front kick? To make your legs stronger. Why am I learning this front kick? So you feel confident if you ever have to utilize this kick in a self-defense situation. Why am I learning this front kick? Because it's really fun and cool, right? Why am I learning this front kick? Because the drills promote teamwork as we do them together. See where I'm going with that? And then when? If you answer that what, why, when, and where, it happens, right? When? When do I throw this front kick? Well, I'm going to break this down. I'm going to give this to you now because this will help us throughout the whole anatomy of a technique presentation today. I want you to, for a moment, Write down the word caps. KAPS, right? And it's an acronym that stands for K is for knowledge, A is for accuracy, P is for power, S is for speed. Now, we believe those are the four fundamental building blocks of a great martial arts technique. So, number one, I need to know how to execute the technique. So, let's just stay with the front kick. What does that mean? Swing your leg straight up the air and kick with your heel? No. It means, and please don't use the word chamber. Chamber means nothing to a 7-year-old kid, right? Yeah, they have to bend their knee. They have to extend, straighten out their leg. They understand that. They have to kick with the ball of their foot, which is an art within itself, trying to explain to a kid what the ball of their foot is and doing that efficiently. 3, you got to bend your knee again. 4, you put your foot down. Okay? So that's fundamentally a front kick, correct? Great. Next is accuracy, whatever the target might be, the kneecap, the groin, the solar plex, the throat, whatever that might be. I need to design games and drills to accommodate that, right? Third is power. Oh, power is important, right? Technique's got to be strong. And then lastly is speed, okay? Now, once you start working within that parameter, the thing you're going to find, you can teach less. One of the big challenges is I used to bring my instructor over to do seminars. And in a given seminar, he would teach 50 different things. And people would walk out of there overwhelmed and confused and their brains hurt. And I didn't find that very empowering. So what I challenged him on is let's take those 50 techniques and discipline ourselves to only teach 10. But for each one of those techniques, I want 10 different ways to practice it, to utilize that. So let's go back to the front kick. Knowledge, right? We're teaching a front kick to a kid. How do you do that? Number one, sit them on their bottom because they're hopping around on one leg, trying to understand how to bend their knee, trying to get how to kick with the ball of their foot. None of it works. None of it works. Put them on their bottom. Their arms are straight, supporting their weight behind them on their hands. 1, they lift their knee up. 2, they kick at the mirror. Then I use a clapper to help facilitate stimulating neurologically tapping the ball of their foot. Oh, you're kicking with the heel. I need you to kick with this part of your foot. So now we're focusing on the knowledge. Bend your knee, put your foot down. Right? We can take a ring and a pad. Bend your knee, don't kick the ring, kick through the ring, kick the pad, bend your knee and set it down. That alone, by using the ring, people rechamber all day long without having to say a word. Just tell them, we gamify it. This is the ring of fire. Don't touch the ring of fire or your leg will melt off, right? And so things like that, because I think the biggest evolution in the martial arts, if you are kid-centric, it must be age-specific and skill level specific. Going back to my experience as a white belt, learning 3 katas in 2 years. Remember, martial arts originally was designed for men, for adults to practice. So a lot of what's taught is random, very, very random. I have a kata called Iron Fan that sat in white belt that now sits up in year 4. The other 2 katas sit up in year 2 and year 3. That's how complex they were. And it wasn't age appropriate, it wasn't skill level appropriate. So we're mindful of that. We also suffered from doing drills for that front kick, but it was all kicking dead air, right? It didn't fulfill the CAPS acronym: knowledge, accuracy, power, and speed. So, okay, knowledge. They're sitting on their bottom. They understand how to bend their knee, extend their leg, kick with the ball of the foot. We covered all that. We even have a game where we play tag, where they must stand on the balls of their feet, right, and walk around trying to tag it one another. If they put their foot on the ground in the heel, they must do 3 jumping jacks or 3 push-ups and get back in the game. Because really what it is, it's muscle memory. Nobody walks around on the balls of their feet unless they wear high heels all day, right? We all walk on our heels. So your muscles remember that. That's why every kid throws a front kick with the heel, right? That's nothing new, because that's what the muscles remember instinctively. So to get the muscle memory to kick with the ball of the foot, I've tried the one where we're sitting on the bottom, point your toes, right? Like a ballet dancer, and then just bring your toes up. That doesn't work. But to get a kid to stand up and lift his heels up and walk around the room on the balls of his feet, that one seems to work all day, every day. And if you got a better one, put it in the comments, right? I'm always trying to discover better ways to communicate a technique to a child. And if we're using counting in Korean and doing all that other stuff, I beg to differ. Really, I want them to throw a good front kick, right? So at the end of the day, whatever games I need to create, whatever muscle memory exercises are cultivated so they kick with the ball of the foot, I think is really, really cool. It just is. I like a traditional front kick, right? A lot of people say it's obsolete. If I was in an MMA and threw the same front kick, I would stomp on him with my heel. Okay, that's cool. But I like a front kick. It's part of Kenpo. So I want to do the best I can to communicate that as an educator so they learn it. Okay, so we took balance out of the mix. They did it from the ground so they could really focus on the dynamics of the kick. Then we stand them up. Yep. We go to the pony wall. They hold the pony wall to take balance out of the mix, right? And now we're choosing a target, whether it's the knee or the groin or the solar plex or the throat. Same thing. Walking down the line, holding the clapper, counting 1, raise your knee, 2, kick, 3, bend your knee, 4, set it down. Going down the line, making sure everybody makes contact. Okay, so we've covered accuracy. Then we go for power. Of course, it's always going to be the heavy bag. Anytime you're working on power, the heavy bag or breaking a board facilitates that. And you can gamify that. Whoever kicks the bag the hardest, you get to break a board. Okay, right? And then choose 3 or 4 leaders to break the board. We're always looking at ways to inspire them. But stay with me. We went from the ground to the pony wall, and now we're on a bag. Then we go for speed. They face each other. Who could kick the fastest? Team 1, team 2. There's a speed drill. I can take a pull noodle and a pad. Okay, kick the pad before I hit your shin. Kick the pad, right? And really, speed is in the reach chamber, is it not? Whether it's a punch, a back fist, cross punch, or a front kick. So then look at that. We've come up with 4 drills, 4 different games, and it's still a front kick. See, that's really the art. And once you trust the process, you'll be more inclined to whittle away and stop the memorization thing, right? One of our stripes is that front kick. It's in year one. They're doing a front kick. Or year 2, I'm sorry. They're doing a front kick, right, on both sides. Then they're blocking. No, it's a round kick. So they're doing a round kick. They learn the round kick on the left leg. Front lead, round kick. Then the second part is they block that round kick with a down block and they throw a jab to the body. There you go, right? That is a whole stripe. How many moves is that? Stay with me. Year 2 student, and it leads me into this. You'll love this, Bob. Write it down, though. The round kick on each side, 2 moves, right? Right round kick, left round kick. Then we have the block and the punch, right? That's 2 more moves. 2, 4, and 2. So 6 moves, okay? 6 moves, year 2, right? That's 1 stripe. Now stay with me. In a given 45-minute class, you have the warm-up, the stretch, the life talk, we meditate, and the game at the end. So now we roughly have 35 minutes to teach this technique. That happens on day 1. If you're a twice-a-week student, you're probably sparring at that point. So the B day is sparring. Now, people said, how do you administer curriculum with the once-a-week students? It's the same, because the once-a-week student and the twice-a-week student is getting the same amount of curriculum. You with me? Right. Because if I'm a twice-a-week student, my B day is sparring. I'm not doing curriculum. Once a week, twice a week, I'll have 1 day a week of curriculum. Twice a week, B day is sparring. So that's how we were able to get through that. So everybody's on the same path to earning their next rank. Okay? So we also have Learn Week and Earn Week. Learn Week and Earn Week. So right now we're on Green Stripe 9. There's a Green Stripe 9 for level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, roughly year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. And there's one for beginner. There's one for black belt, first degree, second degree. What's great about that is when we facilitate staff training, which is on a weekly basis on Friday, they're only reviewing that 1 stripe. Sure, there's 9 different ones because of the different levels. But as far as facilitating your staff training, you now have a set plan to work on because it flows with the curriculum. We're always training 2 weeks in advance of the next stripe. You got that? Everybody got that? I know it's not that complicated. It's really once you get it going, you're like, oh, okay. Makes a lot of sense, right? Makes a lot of sense. And I think as far as the conversations go, culturally, when you have a parent say, My kid didn't earn their stripe this week. Any of my instructors can look up on the wall and see right there in the acrylic hanging sign, oh, we are on Learn Week of Green Stripe 9. So nobody is earning a stripe this week. Second question in that conversation, well, my kid hasn't earned a stripe in like forever. Well, looking at their belt, I see they have yellow stripe 7, orange stripe 8. Those are the first 2 stripes in the cycle that we are currently in. They are right on task. We've just started Learn Week of Green Stripe. See how easy that communication is? It's no longer, well, let me go talk to Professor. Let me go talk to Seafood Dela Cruz. That never happens. Never, never, ever. And it's set up this way because if a parent doesn't see that their child is progressing, they will quit. Think about an elementary school. They have back to school night. They have student, parent, teacher conferences twice a year. They get a report card. I need to see my child is progressing. I'm not there. I'm not in the class. I need to see that. And when that kid gets in the car and says, I earned my green stripe 9 next week, when they earn it, that parent will go, that's what I pay them for. So the short term is they earn a stripe. Midterm, they earn their next belt. Lastly, long-term goal is to earn a black belt and beyond. So again, the system I designed was all about that. All about that. Cool? All right. So 35 minutes, one technique, fulfilling the acronym of KAPS. You with me? You gamify it, you could do so many things with a front kick. You could add fitness. Give me 3 push-ups, jump up, followed by a front kick. Sure. The point is to disguise the repetition so they are understanding. The more they do the technique different ways, not just one way, a deeper understanding of the technique they understand, right? When you break a board with a front kick, you feel the power. When you kick a bag, you feel the power. When you're able to kick the pad before I hit you with a noodle, you're understanding speed, right? And I think we spend way too much time trying to explain it to the student verbally. Do not use words like rechamber. Do not. Face the diagonal. What? No, face the plant over there. I learned that virtually. When we were teaching virtual and you're trying to tell a kid, face the diagonal, that doesn't mean anything. The art was looking at their room on screen and saying, okay, face the couch. Okay, turn and face your chest, face your bed. So using landmarks when you teach are much more powerful, much more, because they're visually recognized. And again, age specific. If I'm working with a 6-year-old and I say run to the couch, they can do that a heck of a lot faster versus me saying run diagonally. So again, that's become the real art of what we do. So I think the other thing in that, and this is off the subject of anatomy of a technique, but still within the same realm, is we follow the cycle of the school district's calendar. What does that mean? So let's start in January. Learn week, earn week. So in January, 2 stripes, yellow and orange. February, 2 stripes, green and blue. March, 2 stripes, red and brown. Then we come into April, and all the classes are for the whole month are centered around testing, making up stripes, and reviewing. People say, you spend a whole month? No, we don't. One of those weeks are spring camp. And if your B day is sparring, the other 3 weeks, we have 3 days to review 6 stripes, test you on it, and award belts in our classes. So it's not a whole month. But what it allows us to do is feel like they're more proficient. They review everything. They get better at it. And we can reset for the next cycle. All of it flows so that we can work this well-oiled machine. Even belts. We wrapped the certificate around the belt like a high school diploma. It was very cumbersome, and we'd have to leave 15 minutes at the end of every class by week 2 or 3 to award belts and tie them on the kids. Now we hand it to them like a high school diploma. We shake their hand. The parents social media that moment. That's really what it serves. So even that we have down to why. Let's talk about the belt testing itself. If I come into April with 6 stripes on my belt, once we review and get it done, we walk around with Sharpies. And if we feel they did a great job, we sign the stripe. So by the third week of reviewing and makeup stripes and testing, they have all 6 stripes signed on their belt. We're pulling belts. And they're already made up for us. Our admin, as soon as we finished in April, you know what they did? They updated everybody in year 1. They printed all the next certificates we need for August, and they ordered all the inventory of belts, and then they'll start wrapping them. May, they'll do year 2 and 3. June, May, they did all of year 1. June, year 2 and 3. July, black belt, first degree, second degree. You got to order plaques, embroidered belts, all of that. It's so systematic the way we have it set up. And again, following the school district, it's so primo because our next belt testing is what? August. Last minute vacations, back to school. You won't have people there for the whole month. But getting them to come back at the end of the summer is always going to be a big task, right? Because people go on hold. Now, stay with me. Again, following the school district, most people are going to leave by the second week of June. We only have a handful of students that are gone June 1st, right? So how many stripes did I earn in May? 2. How many stripes did I earn in June before vacation? Probably 1, maybe 2. That's a good scenario. You're gone the whole month of July, better part of August, you come back. Before you even leave, we are already pre-framing you to come back. Wow, you have 4 out of your 6 stripes. You will definitely make up those 2 stripes in August when you get back. And you will graduate with your class to the next belt level. Be confident, have a fun vacation. And then we prime that by sending We Miss You postcards. We prime that by sending them the curriculum videos to take a look at. And many parents would love a 30-minute break when they're on vacation in an Airbnb in Hawaii. So they'll make their kid practice, right? And make them watch the videos for 30 minutes while mom gets a break. You with me? So again, it's all designed around the school district's calendar, and it makes a lot of sense. The last spell testing follows when? December. We're closed for a week in December. It's the holidays. Believe me, we're working really hard to get everybody graduated by the second week of December. So all of that, again, if my team is successful, if my students are successful, and my parents are successful, retention is higher, right? Retention is higher. And just the communication, the level of communication with this paperless form of belt testing is very powerful. You with me? And when you're running a school of our magnitude, it's super important that we have a very efficient system to accommodate that. Now, most schools approach their curriculum from white belt up, but Roland Osborne taught me this when I learned rotating curriculum 15 years ago now. He said, think of Back to the Future. What do you mean by that, sir? I want you to think black belt and work back. So if you had to think about your black belts and what you want them to know, how many forms, how many self-defense, what level of physicality, what life skill components, and then you work backwards. So let's say hypothetically, I want them to know 4 forms. Great. I'm going to put a form in year 1, a form in year 2, a form in year 3, a form in year 4. Let's just say it's a 4 years to black belt. Okay. I spread out the forms. I have 8 self-defense techniques. Great. I'm going to put 2 of them in year 1, 2 of them in year 2, 2 of them in year 3, 2 of them in year 4. You with me? So once you know all the curriculum you want them to possess and know as a black belt, then you work it into your curriculum class syllabus year by year by year. And that's where that was brilliant. But I encourage you right now to go through your white belt because we know the attrition is highest in white belt and year 1. It just is. The first 18 months of anyone's martial arts journey, just like dating or any other relationship, you're determining if I want to be in this relationship long term. Are you with me? Right. So I think we in the industry will say that the highest attrition is 0 to 18 months. So what? We're just going to give up and leave it at that? No way. We should be going after that, going after that, going after that with everything we've got to reduce the attrition. So go into your trial experience right now. And the way we did it, which is by coincidence, every time the phone comes out and the parent takes a picture, that's a Disney moment. That became the foundation of our trial experience. Every time that board breaking phone comes out, the awarding of the best job badge phone comes out, kid leading the class phone comes out, right? So those became those magical Disney moments that help them in the buying process. They're determining while they sit there if they want to sign their kid up or not. Hello at the front door when they get there, the complimentary t-shirt that we give them, their name printed nicely in acrylic sign. All of those are Disney moments. The phone comes out, parents take pictures, and it's helping the decision-making process. You with me? Good. All right. So you want to build from backward back. We talk, you want to train your team. I think this is the big thing where we lack. We do. I still take pride that I possess this knowledge that none of my guys do. They will never possess the knowledge I have. Why? Because I've been doing it 50 plus years. They can never catch up to me because when they get up to 50 years, I'll either be dead and have 75 years of teaching experience under my belt. Stop it. Stop it right now. What I want you to do is make the commitment to train your team to teach better than you. If you want freedom, the freedom I enjoy today is I've created a company people want to work for and don't want to leave. 2, I've trained my team to do it better than me, right? And that means systems of teaching. And I think I've already touched upon those. And they're all based upon how to teach this technique, how to fulfill that. We all use the same pads. We all use the same drills. Because anytime somebody will say to you, Mr. So-and-so said, do it this way. Huge disconnect. That means I haven't trained my team. Consistency earns trust. Write it down. Consistency earns trust. And the analogy I use, which may not be the best one. If I go to McDonald's in China, the quarter pounder of cheese tastes the same as the quarter pounder in Paris, same as the quarter pounder in New York. And at the end of the day, do I care if a 17-year-old kid is making it or a 50-year-old man? No, I don't. If it consistently tastes the same, made the same way, I go to McDonald's and eat that quarter pounder with cheese, right? There you go. It's the same thing here. In the words of Michael Gerber, and the great book you should read is E-Myth, when you can write systems for ordinary people to perform extraordinarily, you have a winner. Now, most of our staff is high school, college, right? We are in many cases. They have very little work ethic. They've socialized with their phone pretty much and their friends. So to have them talk to an adult, right, who's maybe a CEO or a manager of a company and earn their trust is not an easy road to hoe. It simply is not. It's not the same as me standing there talking to the parent. So I need to write the systems for them to do it better than me. But in those systems, I have to meet them where they're at. I earned a black belt. I was sitting there doing homework one night. My dad said, go teach. I looked at my dad, what? Go teach. I was a black belt martial artist. I was a white belt teacher. That's not the way to teach your team. That's not the way to get your team going. You with me? All right. Because I don't care how good my curriculum is. If my team can't deliver it, it doesn't matter. This whole anatomy of a technique means nothing. But again, by focusing on learning and comprehension and simplifying the curriculum so it's 2-3 moves, right? Year 1, year 2, it's roughly 3, maybe 4 moves on. But year 1, it's a lot of single techniques in a 2-week period to earn a stripe. Year 2, 3 to 4, right? By year 3 and 4, can I do a stripe in 2 weeks at 7 and 8 moves all day, every day? Because their comprehension level is much higher. And that falls again with the school system. Think of the curriculum in first grade compared to what your kids learned in junior high school, compared to what they're learning in high school. It progressively gets harder. Am I going to give AP calculus to a kindergartner? No, I am not. You just have to trust you can create enough drills. And I can't tell you how much higher performing my team is at every turn because of this. Cool. Again, going back to my team, if the curriculum only works when I teach it, I fail. I don't have curriculum. I have a personality driven business, and that's a bad day, right? So one of the things we've invested heavily in that's really helped our culture is our curriculum videos. If you don't have curriculum videos, hey, Conrad, you've been sitting there. I was taught the same way to teach. I was just sent out on the mat. No way I would do that to my teachers. Curriculum videos for me help me understand better what I'm teaching. And the fact that I don't teach as much anymore, taking my team's advice, I can't tell you, Professor, every time we teach this stripe in this 2-week period, the guys are frustrated. They don't like it. The students aren't engaged. Can we change it? No, that is blasphemous. Hey, David, what's happening, sir? That is blasphemous. No, it's not. You guys teach more than I do. It's not a Disney experience. Yes, it needs to be challenging and even hard. But when nobody wants to do it, maybe you should change it, right? So I think one of the best investments I made is that we are committed to training our instructors relentlessly. That's mandatory. They're paid to be there. We train them on a regular basis to deliver this curriculum at the highest level, right? And don't think you train them once and call it a day. Your team is like a bucket with holes in it. You put in curriculum training, it goes out the bottom. You put it, and that's just the nature of humans. And if you can't be okay with that, you got to retrain them all the time. All the time. All the time. Not all the time, no, all the time. And get used to that. It's just the nature. So I understand that. And by creating these curriculum videos, which I encourage every one of you to do, it's an aid. We get it in Slack. This is what we're teaching for the next week. Here's the curriculum videos. Study them. So we can reference. That's what I do. You know, again, because I hadn't been teaching, I had to look at some of the first degree stuff and the second degree stuff. And I reference the videos, boom, jogs my memory. I practice with the videos a couple of times. I'm confident to go deliver that to the students. So giving that to your team empowers them. Everybody's on the same page. They're seeing the drills. They're seeing how to deliver it. The student is getting the same curriculum video, the same one. So everybody's on the same page. I think the big thing is understanding what is a curriculum video. A curriculum video is not a demo video from 20 feet away doing a poomsae with your back to the camera. That is not it. That is not it. A good curriculum video is based upon this was taught to you in class. There you go. This was taught to you in class. Here's the highlights. Here's how you earn a stripe, whatever the progression is, right? We count, you do the move. We call out the attack, you do the sequence with the numbers. Lastly, you perform it, right? However that might be. And again, age-specific, skill level specific. Literally, year one, do we use Vimeo for our videos? No, we have a YouTube channel. Vimeo can often crash, right? YouTube is more universal in today's world. I think it's even tied into Google now and something like that. So for people to be able to consistently we have them on the app, right? The My Studio app, and there's a link that goes to YouTube. Our YouTube is a private channel that once you click on this link, you can view it. It's unlisted, not private. It's unlisted. We just find it a more stable environment, Conrad. So we tried Vimeo, and the guys eventually shot me down on it, right? They shot me down on it. I used to be very particular about that. I didn't want anyone to see our video. They're going to steal it from us. And some schools have. They've taken full forms that we do, and they incorporate it in their curriculum. So be it. If you're cool with that behavior, rock and roll, live that way. But we have it where you have to download the app. You have to download the app. So it's convenient, right? It's very, very convenient for our students to practice these videos. And in the world of TikTok and YouTube, if you don't have videos, you're missing a huge chunk of the training, because we want them to practice. But it's really hard to recall it if you're freaking 6 years old, right? Throw the video on and they can practice with it, and you're talking to them just like you did in class. Same verbiage, same thing. We don't have one guy saying rechamber, another guy saying bend your knee. Even the language has to be consistent. So really good curriculum videos. And what changed that, which allows us to evolve even more. I have my own camera setup, my own lighting, my own Rode mic, and it cost me maybe $3,000. But what it allows us to do is we create this curriculum, we test it for 2 weeks, whatever changes need to be made, whether it's a number, an explanation, I can go back and reshoot that video. That is so cool. That is so cool. Before we would spend 20 grand, do it every several years, you know, and I was shooting from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. because we didn't want it to conflict with classes. And this guy was coming in from out of town. We would do that 3 nights in a row. Freaking insane. Now I go in there on a Sunday afternoon by myself. Takes about an hour to set it up and dial in the shot and do it. It is so much better. So much better. And remember, you're not shooting a James Cameron film. You're shooting an industrial video. One camera, flat shot. I don't wear a logoed uniform because we flip the video, right? So we can mirror them. We learned that during the pandemic. Perfect, right? It's a good day. But all those things are part of why people pay us what they do. We charge $229 for a once a week program. That's almost $50 a class. Twice a week is $279. Do the math, right? So we want to make sure we're delivering the best Disney experience possible. And that's definitely one of the components for that. Really good curriculum videos that are easily accessed, that are designed to help support their learning and comprehension. Have I knocked that one down enough? Just don't send me your video and it looks like you're at some tournament doing the kata. It is not. It is not. I think, we talked about age and skill appropriate. It all day long beats tradition. I know. You want them to count in Japanese or Korean, and you want them to do calligraphy and all that stuff. I don't think it's age and skill appropriate. Here's one for you. We all teach a round kick. We know how hard it is for a kid to kick with the top of their foot. They all want to do a round kick with their toes. Sound about right? Put it in the comments if you agree with me. Okay? Sound about right? It does. Now, with that said, I did one the other day. We took a little square hand target. Each of the kid got one. I had them put it on the floor. They laid on their stomach. And I said, I want you to paddle your feet on top of this pad as if you're swimming in a swimming pool. That's what I said. Every kid knows how to swim. Every kid does it. They all take swimming classes. So all of them laid on their belly, right? And they paddle their feet like this. And the tops of their feet were hitting this pad. Neurologically stimulates, what I'm feeling right now, that's the part of my foot that's going to hit the bag, hit the clapper, hit the pad. Right? Some guy watched that from another school one day and goes, that's genius. It's really insane, but it's freaking genius. Yeah, because it's age appropriate. Every kid learns to swim. It's skill level appropriate. It's so familiar, right? When they paddle their feet in a swimming pool. That's essentially part of a round kick, right? You raise that leg up, you straighten that leg. It's part of a round kick. So again, when you think about that, it beats tradition. It beats tradition all day, every day. Okay? So I want you to be mindful of that. I know we take pride. I know, right, Conrad? But how dorky is that, swimming? But again, I did it the other day because the class was too big. They did it on the mats. Even doing it straight on the mats without the hand pad was fine. It was fine. I do another fun one where we take 3 hand pads and we stack them up. We lay a Wave Master on its side and we stack the 3 pads on the Wave Master, Conrad, and they have to kick one pad, they kick the second pad, they kick the third pad. Talk about control and accuracy, right? There was the whole accuracy. And if that pad goes directly to your right, that's a good left front leg round kick. For the higher belts, we had them try to kick out the middle pad. They had 1, 2, 3 pads. They had to try to kick out the middle pad. See? So again, gamifying it and creating these types of games. All I care is they throw the round kick correctly when the day's done, right? That's all that's about. When the day's done, I want you to throw it. How I get there, who cares? Who cares if it's not traditional? Who cares if I'm not punching a makiwara over and over and over and doing knuckle push-ups? Who cares? The point is, as long as I get you there, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter how we get to the top of the mountain, as long as we get there. Yeah, gamifying it. But again, I have to think like a 6-year-old. I have to think, talk in their language, all of it, all of it. The whole swimming in the pool thing, everybody can do a round kick now. Everybody, not somebody, everybody can point their toes and kick with the top of the foot on the round kick, right? Less is more, you know? And that took a long time. And O.S. Smith said this, respect, tradition, embrace innovation. It's the yin yang that should exist in the martial arts to keep you relevant. I mean, at this point, we have a legacy business. San Francisco's been around 25 years, 500 students, hard to maintain. It's been up and down, but we're right in that pocket. That's harder to do than growing something brand new, right? It's harder to maintain crops where the soil needs nutrients all the time, right? And to keep up with that. So I recognize that less is more. Less is more. As I shared in year one, in a 35-minute class, because there's a warm-up, a stretch, a live talk, and a game at the end, realistically, in a 35-minute of curriculum time, we can teach three to seven moves. Again, year one, it's 1 to 2 moves, even 3. Break that 35 minutes down. Each chunk, let's say it's 3 moves, 35 minutes. Each one is roughly what? 10 minutes for each technique. In that 10 minutes, there's knowledge, accuracy, power, and speed for each one of those, right? And we've evolved that. Roland Osborne had, okay, black belt training, you do it on your own. And then the instructor walks down the line, making contact, right? Using the 3x3 rule. Say my name, appropriate eye contact, appropriate touch, high five, right? That's been around forever. Then we had ninja training, right? Ninjas are attacking the school. You face this way and do the front kick. You face that way, do the front kick. Face right. Okay, great. Let's do team drills. These 2 lines face these 2 lines, right? Let's do a speed drill. Who could kick the fastest? Who could kick the hardest? Who could kick the loudest? Who could kick the most correct? Great. All right, there's team drills. On and on, on and on. So it really is about gamifying it. And once you have it really solid, you'd be amazed how you can now teach your team to do it. If it's random, it's never going to work. It's simply not. And it's proven it again and again in our industry. Majority of schools are personality-driven business. They hover around, 100 to 150. I'd say lower. I'd say 75 to 100, but I'm trying to be generous. So I get that. But you have to trust the process and be creative. It's about variations of a theme. And I learned that in college. I was a film minor and a music major. And I took this one film class and they did a dance routine. It was a ballet dance. And it was called 7 or 9 variations of the theme. And this girl did this dance routine and it must have been about 25 moves. So they shot it in slow motion. They shot it with a low camera angle. They shot it with quick cuts. And they played these 9 variations. And I swore to you, each time I thought it was a completely different dance. And that's what they were really sharing with you. If you really think about the experience and what you're trying to do with the technique, they will never think they're doing a front kick over and over and over and over again. Because each game, each drill is so dynamic and different that they forget they're doing a front kick. Now, old school, you kick and punch the dead air for a whole freaking hour, you're done. You're freaking done. And we all remember those nights in class, right? Our instructors would have us do a form over and over, and we're just kicking and punching dead air. There's no bunkai, practical application. There's no, just the most simplest of things. Say it's the guy's throwing a jab and a right cross, and you're going to block, and then throw a front kick, right? Okay, I'm going to use a pull noodle, block. Then you kick the bag really hard, right? Incorporating pads, the different things. I mean, there's so many levels, and the commitment to it to make it a fun, dynamic class should be something that you understand because, again, the core product is our martial arts instruction. We generate the most of our revenue, not from day camps and, all the rest. We generate our most money from teaching martial arts classes. So your retention numbers tell the truth in all that craziness. Your retention rate, your attrition rate, your graduation rate, your growth rate, all that determines. And if it's not happening, then your curriculum needs some overhauling. One guy I was talking to hasn't changed his curriculum in 15 years. I said, really? Wow. I don't get that. I don't get that. Because if your students aren't staying, and don't tell me they are, if you're stuck at 75 to 100 students and it's been that way for more than 3 years, I would be extremely alarming. But in some schools I talk to, it's like more like 10 years. And to me, that's appalling, simply appalling, right? You have to get into the habit because your curriculum produces measurable accounts and numbers don't lie. And ultimately, the goal is inspiration, not belts. It really is. And if you inspire people to have confidence, you inspire them to you know, learn focus, you inspire that. That's really why. At the end of the day, if we really think about it, if you ever fought competitively, what do you use? 3, maybe 4 techniques? If ever in a real street fight, what do you use? 3, maybe 4 techniques? Seriously. So to be able to trim away the fat and write a story from white to black belt, that's inspirational. From white to black belt, that empowers people. From white to black belt, that builds confidence, that builds self-discipline, that builds community, that builds, in our case, our brand is Live Your Best Life. When we can do all of those things, at the end of the day, who cares if it's judo, jujitsu, front kick, back fist? Who cares? Nobody does. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we don't care. We want somebody to be able to defend themselves. But if they're not inspired by your curriculum to want to defend themselves, who cares? You see where I'm going with that? And that's a rough one, because when students are inspired, retention becomes easy. They stay, they want to be there, right? But if every class is begrudgingly kicking and punching the dead air for 35 minutes, doing the same form over and over and over again, then I think you're going to have a tough road to hoe. Cool? All right. A great curriculum doesn't just teach martial arts. As I said, it creates confidence, it develops character, it inspires achievement, and gives students a reason to stay long enough to become who they're capable of being. That's it. In the school I grew up in, it was real simple. The first night you were there, if you didn't get nailed with a back kick, a heel kick, and get the wind knocked out of you, it wasn't a good first night. And if you came back the next day, you were worthy to train with us. I just don't think that's what we should be doing, right? It's good for bar talk. It's good for back in the day, right? It's good for your ego, right? I watch these guys, and I can't believe people still do it. Let me get this straight. I'm going to earn a black belt. I've spent all these years learning to defend myself, and you want me to stand here blindly and let you kick me in the stomach. I don't understand that. I don't. It makes no sense. I know how to block that front kick. That's why I'm a black belt. Now you want me to stand here in a front stance and allow you to kick me. Well, it's symbolic. No, it's actually pretty contradictory to the whole thing. I've spent 4 or 5 years learning to block your front kick. Now you want me to stand here like this and let you kick me? Well, we don't kick them that hard. Take it out. It's like the gauntlet in jiu-jitsu. You want me to walk down this line and you're going to whip me with belts. I think it's barbaric. I think it's archaic. But you see where I'm going with that? That's me. I believe it's obsolete. And if I pay you premium dollar and my kid walks down a line and you hit him with belts, I think I might have a challenge with that. Just a little bit, right? Right? If my 11-year-old daughter earns a black belt and you got some hotshot, adult black belt that kicks my daughter really hard in the stomach, that's really the highlight of her whole black belt test. Is my daughter crying, at the end of her test after she just spent 4 or 5 hours earning this black belt, you blindly kick her in the stomach? Again, you don't know what you don't know. But if you really think about it, there is an argument for that. Are you with me? There is an argument for that. Cool. So what are your big takeaways today? Let's start wrapping this up, Marco. I'm so passionate about curriculum. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it means you have to be willing to challenge yourself and pull back your own covers and really look at it, what it is you're teaching. And just the simplicity of the anatomy of a technique opens the door to all the other things we talked about today, right? Creating the experience for earning stripes, for earning your next rank, inspiring people, right? Respect tradition, embrace innovation. All those different concepts came out of the simple, this is how you teach a front kick. And it should do that. You should constantly challenge yourself and challenge what you're teaching to better it. All right. So, hey, what do we got coming up? Oh, sponsors first, right, Marco? Let's thank all our sponsors: Tucson, Market Muscles, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting, and Kin Creative. All companies I work with, all companies that I vouch for, as the Italians would say. It's Time Live United. That's coming up in November, November 7th through the 10th. Don't save the date. Get them booked. Throw it up there, Marco. We have 3 people booked out of 20. We only work with 20 school owners for 4 days, for the 4-day experience. You could come for 1 or 2 days and we'll release that later. But this 4-day experience, between the walks and the bonding, the meditations, everything, we spend 4 days. It's such a deep, I call it a retreat, right? It's an experience. It's not 2 days in Vegas where you pretty much walk away with 50 different ideas. It's one cohesive thought that we instill, helping you discover your version of success in every way. And I'm very proud of the event. It's our 9th year. Again, our discipline to only work with 20 school owners is powerful. Get signed up. You are your own best investment. Be one of the 20. Our group mentoring, which again, we had our call today. Good people doing good work for good people. We're active school owners. We're in the mix. So we go through what you go through every day. We don't hypothesize what we did 10 years ago. I don't sit in a glass house behind a desk. We're active. So we understand we're at the pulse of what's going on today. That's why we are not consultants. We are mentors. We mentor people and help them create their version of success. So if you're interested in learning more about that, DM Marco, Miss Monique, or Jason, or myself. I'll be happy to get you on board for a free month. And you can try it out with us. Cool? Yep. Cool. Where can they find me, Marco? Everywhere, right? This podcast is at YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon. It's everywhere. There's like a decade worth of podcasts, my dedication to the industry. And people have run their schools simply by watching my podcast and taking ideas that fit their vision and running with them. So you can find me everywhere. And then for everything else, go to brannonbeliso.com. So the anatomy technique is really about your commitment, like Conrad's saying here. Innovate consistently, gamify, right? Be committed to bettering your curriculum because you owe it to your students. You owe it to yourself, right? If we didn't innovate, we wouldn't have electric cars. We'd still be horse and buggy, right? So I want to inspire that because I think it's one of the biggest things that is challenging our industry today in many ways. And your commitment to your students, your commitment to your why are we teaching this, is going to really be the difference in everything. Cool. All right. I want to thank you for being here today. I am Brannon Beliso. Thank you, Marco, for holding down the fort. This is Success Never Sleeps. Until we talk again, what are you going to go out and do? Live your best life. Yeah.